Hi guys, you're here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and we're varying from our normal channel of witchcraft today, and we're doing more of what I would like to be doing as well, in addition on this channel, which are horror reviews of movies and shows. And today's episode here, we are talking about Black Mirror. We are talking about episode 3 of season 1, which is called The Entire History of You. Really good episode. Now, as a little bit of, what do you call it? Like a trigger warning, or whatever. This is a really horrible show. There are, for those of you who don't like closure, and not having closure is the scariest thing to you, this could be the scariest show out there, because that's what is one of the things I think is great about it, what really grips you in the depths of your soul. Now, as I've said, episode 1 of season 1 is the most horrible, and I reviewed that first. I lost some subscribers. It's okay. I knew that that was going to happen, and I hope that they do come back, because okay. But I don't like soft horror. I don't care for soft horror. I like hard horror, and that's because I've been watching horror since I was way too small. And so, I think that the show Black Mirror shouldn't be watched unless you're 18 years old, or unless you've already been watching horror since you were 5 years old. That's what I have to say as a mom, and as someone who cares about my friends and family here. I will proceed, though. So I've probably seen this episode 6 or 7 times since it came out years ago. I'm getting over a cold. Apologies for clearing my throat. But I just watched it and took these notes on it right before I'm sitting here to talk to you. I'm trying to give you the best review possible. So I want to tell you what Netflix says about it in the description. Netflix says, in the near future, everyone has access to a memory implant that records everything humans do, see, and hear. And at this point, over about 95% of the population have them. And what they are is a little tiny grain, they call them, that goes right behind your ear. And what it does is records everything a human sees from the time they're born. In the future, we get these implanted when we're babies for security. And what it is it's a grain, and it goes to your ocular nerve, and then it goes to your auditory. So it's a surgical procedure that's happened. It's implanted, into bits of your olfactory nerves in your brain. Big deal. Now, seeing as they record you your whole entire life, obviously there would be lots of bits of privacy on there, especially with adults, right? So you'll get all kinds of people, what do they call them? Hacking out the grains, where they just attack a woman and cut her grain out, rip it out, and if she's not had it encrypted, they've got her whole history, which pedophiles would have a heyday with, which their best friends would want to hear all their dirty secrets. I mean, the list goes on. Your complete privacy is stuck onto something. That terrifies me, but in all actuality, this isn't far from what's really going on. People on Facebook 24/7, on Instagram 24/7, on social media 24/7, checking in where they go. How is that so much different from this grain? And just kind of keep that in mind, after you watch the show, I guess. But I wanted to say that before I forget, because it wasn't a part of my notes. So basically, in the future, we have these grains, and they're also good for other reasons, or we need them for other reasons, like at the airport. Instead of checking your bag, they just say, hey, run through a redo, and the machine checks it all over, make sure you didn't pack anything. I mean, it's being seen through your eyes. So, or also, if there's a redo, if there's a chunk of your memory, or of this grain memory missing from your timeline, the police would question that, or your work history might question that. If you're going out for a job, they might look at your last 5 years. I mean, really? It shows you in the bathroom. Everything that comes through your eyes, they're looking at. So this is chilling to me. Your privacy is absolutely gone in this future scenario. And that's kind of Black Mirror, it's kind of like futuristic Twilight Zone, if you will, of like how technology will completely fuck humanity, right? If this were in play, there would be no more relationships. I guarantee it. Like, what relationship would make it through something like this? Where you could say, who were you with? Where were you at? I mean, just the accusals alone, you would just be like, oh my gosh, you know. Okay, so let me say this. So it starts out, and, well, we've talked about the implant, major deletions, I'll talk about those later. Okay, so basically it starts out with this character named Liam. And he is at his performance appraisal for work, so like a work evaluation. And he works for what I'm guessing is an adoption company. And they are asking him if he wouldn't mind doing retrospective reviews on the parents so that the company can make more money. Basically taking away kids from their birth parents so that the company can make money. And he sits there and goes, and the company's okay with this? And all 5 people at the table are like, yeah, are you okay with it? And he's all, of course. Because he realizes in that moment that if he doesn't, his job's gone, yeah? So, so then, that's just the intro. Then we realize as we're watching this, you know, he leaves the performance appraisal and he gets into a futuristic taxi cab. And right there on the clear screen of the taxi cab in between him and the driver is the screen where you can play your memories right up there. Now, there are different ways you can play your memories, or play what they call redos. So, a memory is now called a redo when it's played from a grain onto a screen. Now, there are 3 ways that you can play this. You can either you can either project it onto a screen, like a TV or a taxi cab screen or a car screen. You can, you know, project it to a device. Or you can fog out your eyes, where you would just play it inside your eyes. So it would be like closing your eyes, but they stay open and they come green, like a milky green, and then that's how somebody would know that someone with their eyes open was watching a redo and not seeing you. Okay, so basically Liam is on his way to meet his wife, and he's at this like big they call themselves the gang from college, and he's not really included, and he has to, like, right before he walks in, he has to do a couple redos just to remember everybody's name, you know. Who's genuine in this day and age? And that's true with the same day today. Like, who's genuine? Who didn't just look you up to remember, what event were we at? Like, oh, remember Easter 2008? It's me, Jeremy. Like, you just be like, yeah, sure. I mean, until you... It so can be parallel to what's happening now if you just kind of interpret it. And then once you interpret it, you see the sickeningness of what we're doing now. And I'm not calling any of us sickening. I'm here on YouTube. I don't participate in Facebook. I have minimal Instagram, you know, things like that. You guys know I'm not, like, huge with socials. But I am here on YouTube. And so I'm playing part in it too, you know. Anyway, the future is wild, what's out there. 20 years ago, I would have never thought that this cell phone thing I'm doing right here, I would be like, what? That's nuts. And then in 5 minutes, I can push a button and the whole world could see me? No, no. So none of this is very far off, or it's all just kind of like a translation of what's already going on, which I love. It makes it super chilling. So basically, they're at this get-together, and he knows no one there. But he does see that his wife is awfully chummy when he walks in with an old friend that he's never met called Liam. Called Jonas. The husband's called Liam. The old friend is called Jonas. So he asks the wife about him. She's like, oh yeah, you've never met Liam? Or Jonas? He's, you know, he's okay. And then they have dinner, and Jonas goes on to tell stories that are just like, so cocky, like, yeah, I was engaged, but then it's just like, I would end up watching old redos of old girlfriends and wanking instead of being upstairs with my wife, or my wife-to-be, and it was just like, what's the point, you know? And when he said the old girlfriend thing, like, Liam's wife, Faye, was smiling, and it was just like, what? And you can see that it's obvious that they had a thing and she's keeping it from him. Straight off the bat, you can see that, and it's obvious in the show. I tell spoilers through the whole episode, so my apologies, but that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to kind of talk this out with you guys and see what you think too. So basically, there's so many levels and details to this. Make sure you watch this episode a couple of times if you enjoy it, just because you'll see things every time you go back. Really, really you do, especially just in Black Mirrors in general. But basically, they're on the cab ride home from the party. Liam did not have a good time with his wife. Wife did not have a good time with Liam. It's apparent. They're arguing about Jonas. And then you realize, oh, he's following them home in their cab. And they both are like, I didn't want him to come. You wanted him to come, arguing. Playing redos. See, you wanted him to come. This is you saying, oh, the night's late. And this is me saying, oh, it would be exhausting, right? So even from the beginning of the episode, you're getting exhausted with these redos. Just, oh, everybody's just like, burp, burp. And they're all controlled by this little tiny remote that you have just right there in your hand, your wallet, whatever. Kind of like a phone. And so, basically, it's loosely mentioned, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, someone pops to dinner, and it's a lady who's gone grainless. And basically, she had the grain cut out of her head, and it was taken by probably terrible people who wanted to just watch her whole history, the entire history of you. And she decided to live grainless after that, because she's like, I don't want to be, you know, I want to do without. I enjoy going to this, like, old method. And it's loosely mentioned through dinner. Wow, it's surprising you didn't lose your sight, because they're connected to your ocular and auditory nerves. Then when they're just ripped out like that, they could give you blindness or hearing loss. Okay, so that needed to be mentioned because it's important later. Also, during part of the technology of this grain thing and the camera through your eyes is that you can say you couldn't hear somebody. Well, you could do a redo and you can zoom in on that subject and you can hear an audio dictation of what they're saying through lip reading. Yeah. So believe me, husband utilizes that to find out what wife and Jonas were talking about when they walked in. And she was saying, oh, I didn't know you were going to be here. It's so weird seeing you here. It's been so long. And then he walks in and they... So, he redoes that, sees that he has reason to kind of like push her and says, are you sure he wasn't an old fling? And she's like, okay, it was an old fling, okay? It was more than I said. And then it turns out it wasn't an old fling. It was like 1 month, and 1 month goes to 6 months, and is like, are you still in a relationship with her? It's the ever-inflating relationship. Good comedy right there. But she's like, no, that's it. It was just like little, small relationship. Like, meant nothing. He's a dick. I agree with you. So, she's the woman that won't give up till the end of time with her truths, which is a lot of people out there. It's hard to trust people these days. It is. It's good to have somebody that you can marry and love and trust. So, let's see. So basically, I'm going to try and go on the fly. I hope I don't leave anything out. They get home, they tell Jonas, because he gets out of the cab, yeah, sorry we made you drive this way, we're just going to go in. And he's like, okay, that's okay, because I had a second plan anyway, I guess I'll just do that. Okay, so Jonas leaves, they go inside. They tell the babysitter, oh, okay, thanks for babysitting, and she goes up to her quarters, apparently, because she shows up in the morning. So, oh no, she stays the night because it's too late to get a cab home. That's what happens. Then he's accusing her, and she's like, I'm so tired of this. So they go upstairs and they have sex. But when they're having sex, they're laying there like dead robots, barely moving, and they're both have foggy green eyes, and they're watching redos of Hotter Times with each other. At least it was with each other, right? But watching redos of Hotter Times. So you're seeing them, having nice marriage times, and then they're just laying there like robots, chilling. Then she goes to sleep, and he wakes up and continues to watch redos of the night, assess them, obsess them, and drink. And he's drinking booze, not beer, until the sun comes up. When the sun comes up, the babysitter, I believe her name is Jody, comes out, and he's like, Jody! And he's wasted, and he's like, check this out, and you tell me, do you think that this is funny? Does this laugh worthy? Because the wife is laughing at his jokes, and she's super uncomfortable. How many times has some person said, like, made you uncomfortable with their social media or pictures or your opinion, give it to me, or even, not even in your face, but just on Facebook made you feel uncomfortable, and you could just flip through it. Poor Jody in that scenario. I would have run out of there. Okay, so Faye and Liam argue until Liam drinks, gets in his car, drives to Jonas's house. And Faye has no idea where he's gone or what's going on. He drives to Jonas's, and guess who's at Jonas's? Grain-free lady, because he's bagged a chick, and that was the second plan. Second plan to what, though? So, I can't remember her name, but Grainless is there, and she's in his nightshirt. It's obvious that they spent the night together, and Liam is like, Jonas, let me come in, I just want to have a chat, blah, 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 and he's like, dude, I gotta tell you, this is really fucking weird. Where's Faye? And he's like, oh, no, yeah, she couldn't come, I gotta talk to you. And so he just picks up a bottle of his booze and just starts chugging, and he's like, get out of here. It's like, no. Pounds the booze, cracks the bottle, and pushes him on the floor, and holds it to his neck, and says, you erase all that shit of my wife that you've ever seen. Every piece of Faye that you have in your memory, get rid of it now. And he's like, fuck you, no. Because I'm assuming it's their right to keep those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's your memory and if you were there, which is messed up, right? Because you, even if you're grainless, you're having sex with somebody, you're being recorded. If somebody watches that redo because someone showed them, it's in their eyes now, like, which is so true because people send sex pictures through their cell phones all the time and think nothing of it. Oh my god, screenshots, people, like, I'm just trying to match up to you, like, how we think, like, this camera technology would be so bad, but guys, it's just not attached to our fucking face, which it will be someday, I'm sure, if we get to that point. And let's hope that we don't, because this really would kill the human race, nobody would. So he gets dude to erase it, and then he's drunk so much that all of a sudden he blacks out, okay? So he blacks out, and when he blacked out, Grainless was calling 911, okay. I'm witnessing an assault, Okay, so next thing he knows, he wakes up, and he is at his car, and he has wrecked it. And he's like hazy, and then he's like, remembers, you see the light bulb come on. And then his eyes go green and foggy, which means he's watching a redo in his eyes. And you see him flicking through his little tick. And then you see his heart drop and him cry and him die. And then him rewatch it and then him die and cry. And you're like, what did he see? So, next thing we see, he walks to his house because he had to walk home because he crashed his car because he drank like 8 bottles of booze. I mean, literally so much a person would be dead. They overplayed that a bit, but I think they wanted to say like how sad you would be. So he walks into his own house, straight up to the bedroom where his wife is asleep in bed. like the little waif that she is. And he says, I want to make sure I get this right. He walks in, and he says, did you use a condom or not? And she's like, what? And then he says, am I Jody's father? And she says, of course you are. And he tells her why. And he plays the redo. And he says, because guess what? I went there last night, and guess what I saw when he was deleting his redos? In the pictures that look like a scroll of film, when you're trying to look through your redo timeline, there was a picture and a date that he saw in that quick second while he was deleting all that shit that Liam saw in a split second, drunk on Jonas's timeline. Drunk out of his mind, and later rewound to find, okay? This is what I'm saying, you guys. It's deeper than what's already going on. It's extended, but it's not far off from what really could be happening. So, that's how he saw a picture of her through Jonas's eyes in their bedroom, in their bed, only 18 months ago. Which is right at the time that he and his wife were trying to have a baby. And he matched that date up to a 5-day period. He was accusing her of cheating on him with another man, and he left for 5 days. So she slowly has to admit, He goes, what do you mean you didn't sleep together? What was he doing? Reading you a bedtime story? She goes, no, okay. He took me for a drink and we got drunk, and then it was nothing. And he goes, okay, well, did you use a condom? And she's like, yes. And he goes, but, it's like, there's something worse. So she admits the lesser. There's something worse. This woman, this person, this soul. I've known this person over and over in my life, metaphorically or one way or another. I hate this person that she is, And I hate being the person that he is, I've been in seen both those spots, probably been in both of them, and just irks me to even know that we're all human and that we all make mistakes and that some of them are this atrocious. So, he says, oh, but you made him wear a condom. And she goes, yes. And he goes, and you saw him put it on. And she goes, yes. And he goes, show me then. And she's all, okay. Because if she saw him put the condom on, if it happened, she could just show him. And then she would be done with it. It would be done, over. It's her kid. It's his kid. Nope. So she tries to sneak. And she goes, actually, I deleted it all. And he goes, oh, so there's just a big blank in your timeline then. And she goes, yeah. And he goes, oh, let me see that. And she goes, okay. So she goes to grab her remote, all slow and sneaky, and he goes, nope, because she lights up her eyes to fog him over to make a quick delete. He goes, nope, put it up on there, on the screen, on the bedroom, TV projection. She's quivering, shaking, because that's it. She's fucking busted, as my mother Peggy would say whenever she caught me doing something wrong. You're fucking busted. I love you, Mom. So anyway, basically, the next thing you see is her pushing play and him being crushed, listening to them have wild sex that was obviously there was no condom running and getting. It was running in the room, and within moments they were in the act. So, she's bawling on the bed, he's falling apart in his eyes, and that's the end of the scene. Next scene. He's walking around their empty shell of a home as she's because she's gone now. The house is empty, it's full of beer bottles, and just the way a sad man would probably live. no offense to men, a sad anyone would live. I'm sorry about saying the man thing. That was really insensitive. A sad anyone would live after something like that. Oh my God, depression hits. Believe me, it happens. So, he's just walking around watching redo after redo after redo after redo, not living in any form of reality. Watching him and his wife and the baby. And you presume that now her, Jonas, and the baby are having a lovely, beautiful life. And it's just him there. So he's walking around their house, going through each room, remembering each best time, the way she used to smile at him before they had the baby, because that's probably when she still loved him. And then it shows him go to the bathroom and take a razor blade and cut behind his ear and take some tweezers and really try and jab, and they do show that as bloody and gross, so turn your head if you don't like that bit, yeah. And then they show him rip it out, and as he rips it out, they show a flash of a couple memories, and then it looks like a computer screen messed up, and then it goes blank. And I think that means that he blinded himself. I think that because they had mentioned earlier that, when she had been her grain ripped out for the perverted reasons, they had said you were lucky you still have your hearing and your sight. And so when they did that to him at the end, it's just my interpretation. But again, the goddamn show leaves you with no fucking closure, no conclusion, and it's all up to your own imagination, which I really love. It's so conceptual. So you guys, thank you for joining me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, while we talked about Black Mirror, a really cool, in my opinion, but morbid show that gets you here, and even a week later has still got you reeling up here. So I'd love to hear comments on what you thought of my review, and come back as we start Season 2, Episode 1 of Black Mirror. See you guys soon.